The champagne was on ice, and the Celtics were ready to celebrate. Their textbook passing had paved the way for a commanding 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals. The Rockets were always one step behind as they showed more signs of confusion than signs of a comeback. Needing a spark in Game 5, the Houston Rockets got a lightning bolt instead. And while this brawl got Ralph Sampson ejected, it also transformed the Rockets into gangbusters. They attacked the boards with vengeance. Hakeem Olajuwon swatted Celtic shots and bodies like flies. The tables had turned. The normally composed Celtics seemed to lose their poise. So while they licked their wounds, the Rockets could bask in the glory of knowing the victory party on this night was all theirs. Today in Boston, a city hoping to crown another champion, where basketball is regarded as art, and where art sometimes imitates life. You can forget that high noon was an hour ago here on the East Coast, because the gunfight at the OK Corral is still to be staged inside the Boston Garden. It's the Celtics trying to tack banner number 16 up on the roof, and the Houston Rockets trying to battle and bring about a 7th game in the 1986 NBA Finals. It's a 6th game that not many folks expected we'd ever see after the first 2 games here in Boston, when the Celtics were very impressive in rocking the Rockets. But then Houston regrouped at home and got the job done. Welcome, everybody. I'm Brett Musburger. You know, when a championship series begins, you talk about average points scored, coaches' strategy, playing time off the bench. But when you get to a 6th game, raw emotion is what tends to fuel you. And forevermore, it will be known as the incident in Game 5 in Houston. You have seen the tape over and over. You have seen Ralph Sampson come down the floor. Jerry Seasting pick him up down there. You've seen Sampson's elbow. You've seen him go down underneath the basket. You've seen the double team continue. You've seen Sampson's arm pinned. You've seen Sampson suddenly lose his cool and start throwing punches. And you have seen Bill Walton come in with a tackle. The issue is not who is to blame, but how will the players respond here today?
We lost our composure, and anytime that happens, anything can happen on the basketball court.
This team is really pumped up, and I think it's something that's going to carry over into these next 2 games.
You know, you expect a game like that maybe once in a while during the season, but not during the finals. And I think we're all a little disappointed in ourselves.
We're going to have to do it. It's do or die situation.
I don't think that we can just rely on being the Boston Celtics and we're at home to win a game.
We know we can beat them. So we come in there over here with determination.
We can't expect anybody to give it to us or let us have it. We got to go out and take it. We got to play very aggressively right from the start and get back and run for 48 long minutes.
All right, the mood of the 2 teams. Houston came in here today very loose. The Celtics apparently put their game faces on yesterday during a very intense workout. The Celtics are favored from anywhere to 9 to 10 points, so obviously the public expects them to respond. I'll be very surprised if the Rockets don't look them right dead in the eye here this afternoon and have at least a chance to pull it off in the last 5 minutes. Now, for more on Ralph Sampson and what's been going on with his day here in the Boston Garden, let's go down to Dick Stockton. Dick?
Thank you very much, Brent, and maybe he's just destined to be a villain in the NBA. Whatever, Ralph Sampson has had his problems in Boston long before today. He had that scary injury in the regular season, a tough game 1 for 13 shooting, and the cut under the eye. So all eyes were on Ralph Sampson as he came into the arena today with the rest of the Rockets to a chorus of boos. Pat O'Brien asked him if he pays attention to what the press says about him.
Like I said, I haven't really read it and haven't seen it. I've seen it coming into the gym today. I really haven't focused that much on it. You know, just concentrate on what I have to do personally. I know it could be a situation where they're going to boo me every day, but I'm used to it.
Whether or not you've read it or not, you know it's going to happen. You are going to be the focus of the game. Will that affect you today, Ralph?
In the past, it has affected me and made me play at a higher level.
He has not risen to the occasion at Boston Garden yet. And even though the Rockets won an emotional game number 5 and game 6 coming up right now, keep in mind that if Ralph Sampson does not produce today, the Rockets are in a lot of trouble. He cannot afford to disappear. Tommy Heinsohn, is Houston coming back at home? What has brought the Rockets back?
I think they discovered, Dick, the intensity that's needed to be played at in the final round. And that intensity produced very, very sensational, aggressive rebounding on the offensive boards. They're going to need a lot of that offensive rebounding in order to turn the Celtics back today.
Tommy, there is no secret that as Larry Bird goes, so go the Celtics. What do you foresee for Bird today?
He's been the inspirational leader for this ball club ever since he arrived on the scene. They want to get the ball in his hands. They need him to get off shooting well to set up the rest of their game. He's a great passer, but the shot will produce the good passing. He only took 13 shots in the last ball game. They need to get him the ball more so he can shoot more.
All right, Tommy, you know, one of the great traditions of Boston Garden is the famed parquet floor, but before the game, we had a problem with the floor. For more on that, let's go back upstairs to Brent.
Indeed, it was a problem, Dick, and it also involved Larry Bird, who came out early for his shoot-around, and he left the floor, and he said, I can't shoot because of the slippery conditions. Well, it turned out that, fearful of a demonstration on the floor after the game and the baskets being torn down, they sprayed that support right there with silicone. But they sprayed it while the baskets were out over the floor, and some of it dripped down on the parquet, leaving it in a very slippery condition. Chris Ford, the Celtic assistant out there in the background, they came out and mopped up the floor, and then referees Jake O'Donnell and Darryl Garrettson became involved, and they have asked for it to be washed down still a second time. It's something to keep an eye on because someone might slip, cost you a basket, and worse yet, someone could get hurt. The Garden itself is a great setting for a Game 6. This is where the Lakers wrapped it up a year ago. Today, the Celtics want to come back and reign again as NBA champions.
CBS Sports coverage of the 1986 NBA Finals is sponsored by Miller High Life. Miller made the American way since 1855. And by the new Chrysler Corporation. They don't want to be the biggest, they just want to be the best. Sports coverage of the 1986 NBA Finals is sponsored by Miller High Life. Miller made the American way since 1855. And by the new Chrysler Corporation. They don't want to be the biggest, they just want to be the best.
Here in Boston Garden, not as humid as it's been in the past, but it is warm and it's going to get steamier, we are sure. Right now, for the introduction to the starting lineups, let's go to the public address announcer, Andrew Jick.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Boston Garden for Game 6 of the NBA Finals between the Houston Rockets and the Boston Celtics. And now, let's meet the starters for the Houston Rockets. At guard, in his 8th year from St. Mary's, number 33, Robert Reed. At the other guard, in his 5th year from Drake, number 32, Louis Lloyd. At forward, in his 3rd year from Louisville, number 22, Rodney McRae. At forward, in his 3rd year from Virginia, number 50, Ralph Sampson. At center, in his 2nd year from Houston, number 34, Hakeem Olajuwon. And the head coach for the Houston Rockets, Bill Fitch. And now, let's meet the starters for the Boston Celtics. At guard, in his 10th year from Pepperdine, number 3, Dennis Johnson. At the other guard, in his 5th year from Brigham Young, number 44, Danny Ainge. At center, in his 10th year from Centenary, number 00, Robert Parrish. At forward, in his 6th year from Minnesota, number 32, Kevin McHale. At the other forward, in his 7th year from Indiana State, number 33, Larry Bird. And the head coach for the Boston Celtics, K.C. Jones.
This Boston Garden crowd is ready, and the officials working today's game, and it's important who they are. Darryl Garrettson and Jake O'Donnell will work the game. Hugh Evans is the alternate, and Tommy Heinsohn, after what we had in game number 5. What do you foresee as far as the way the officials will handle this game, particularly at the outset?
It's going to require all their experience. It's going to be a tough game. They have to control early and not let the game get out of control. They can't anticipate anything because of the fight. They've got to establish a level of contact every player can play with.
You think they're going to call things early, especially so, or not?
If they overreact, there's going to be some serious foul trouble to one or the other team, particularly the big guys, and that's not right.
All right, the Celtics in white, the Rockets in red. That's what the Celtics have done at home, and 40 consecutive victories here at the Garden.
And Sampson really can't be intimidated by this crowd. He has to play with a lot of poise.
McHale going in. This is the first shot of the game. Now, Tommy, the Celtics have switched defenses in the backcourt.
Well, they said they were going to have Ainge guarding Lewis Lloyd, but he's out taking Reed.
They wanted to make Reed work a lot harder and put Dennis Johnson on him. They haven't gone that way. Sampson takes the first shot and misses, and a loose ball foul against Houston.
Houston, the foul was on number 32, Lewis Lloyd.
Lewis Lloyd committed the foul.
You know, getting back to Sampson, if Sampson were to overreact and play more passive, he won't be a factor today.
And now they say the foul was on Robert Reed, his first. He got into foul trouble in the last game. Dennis Johnson penetrated. And the Celtics take the lead, crashing the board. Kevin McHale.
Now Ainge is on Lloyd, and DJ on Robert Reed.
Bird steals from McRae. Johnson finds McHale. Reed was defending, and McHale gives the Celtics a 4-0 lead. Kevin McHale has led the Celtics in scoring in both of the losing games for the Celtics. Hakeem Olajuwon. Parrish cuts him off. Back to Hakeem. And a Celtic foul.
They're starting with Robert Parrish on Olajuwon, primarily because Parrish will muscle him a little bit more than McHale will, can play him maybe a little bit better one-on-one than McHale also.
Tommy, Robert Parrish has been off his game in 3 of the last 4. K.C. Jones said yesterday he's the backbone, and they're going to continue to go to him particularly early.
I think they need his points. Right from the inception of this series, Parrish was important. Olajuwon may be seeing a lot of daylight today. The Celtics were double and triple teaming him, and I think that they will pull that triple team off a little bit, so it ought to free this man up to make his moves to the hoop.
Carried the Rockets in game number 5 with 32 points and 14 rebounds. Boston leading 4-2. McRae on Bird. Step back shot. So as Tommy said, Bird will be looking to shoot. And we'll have a violation, traveling call against the Rockets, and it's Boston ball.
The Rockets trying to outlet it fast, but the Celtics right on the outlet man.
Here's Bird. Harris with a fake on Olajuwon. And a Houston foul. And the Celtic bench, which goes about 6 or 7 deep at most, and the foul is on Hakeem, his first of the game.
Olajuwon will have to be very careful of fakes. Robert Parrish, this entire series, has been trying to lift him, and particularly early in this game, stay on the floor.
Parrish has scored in double figures in only 2 of the 5 games of this series. He was the scoring leader in game 1 here with 23 points.
The best part about Robert Parrish in this series hasn't been his scoring. It's been his rebounding and his defensive play against either one of the postmen. He really has helped to deny them good low post position.
Misses both free throws. Celtics by 4. Houston has taken only 1 shot. That's the second, and that's good. And it's Robert Reed, who has gotten off to a good start from the perimeter in most of the game. Dennis Johnson quickly penetrating again. Scored. He's done a lot of that, Tommy.
And the two shot blockers stayed on the ground that time. Allowed DJ to slip through for the layup.
McHale picks up Rodney McRae on a switch. Sampson guarded by Bird, but Bird doing a good job against him. Traveling called against Ralph.
Very aggressive defense by McHale. Forced McRae to walk.
McHale in good position, and McRae, who has blocked several shots in this series, including one by McHale and Bird, blocks another here.
Well, thank goodness for McRae, because Sampson gave up the good low post position.
Danny Ainge missing. McHale and Bird underneath. Here's Bird and a basket. And the Celtics with a 6-point lead. Quick passing, and Lloyd, who's really struggled, hits his first shot of the game.
Bird is not going to double as much today, I don't think, in that low post. That's going to produce some offensive rebounds here. And this man, when he comes to play, he gets his nose and his mustache dirty underneath there. Good move against the three big guys of the Rockets.
McHale works his way in, and Olajuwon gets the rebound. Loses the ball, does Reed to Ainge. There's Bill Walton, who's had a big role in the series, but the Celtics have doubled the Rockets' output with 8:45 to go. And a Boston foul inside as McRae was trying to find Sampson. Foul is on Danny Ainge, his first.
Well, I'm noticing right away they're not as aggressive, the Rockets, getting those outlet passes to get that speed into the action.
Tough to play on the road, and the Celtics have won 40 straight here. Sampson turnaround over McHale. McHale's played good defense early on. Parrish gets free. Timeout, Houston.
Hello, I'm Frank Bartles, and you remember Ed James. As Ed says, you cannot be successful in the marketplace if you just sit around on your front porch. So to be sure the Bartles and James Premium Wine Cooler customer is also a satisfied customer, we're going to do some consumer research. And since it is usually better to do consumer research where there are plenty of consumers, we are headed for New York City. We'll keep you posted on how it's going, and thank you again for your support.
Strategy defending Akeem with the use of a triple team. This strategy has caused a big problem on the weak side of the floor, because now there are only 2 Celtics left with the job of keeping 3 Rockets off the board. In Game 5, both Wiggins and Peterson repeatedly burnt the Celtics on the offensive glass. Here's Jim Peterson just walking in, unmolested, for one of his 6 offensive rebounds Thursday night. The Celtics will have to be more judicious on their use of the triple team and keep Larry Bird on the weak side occasionally to block out.
So the Celtics, Tommy, have made an adjustment, and it's worked for them so far.
They have controlled their defensive board. The Rockets not getting that offensive glass like they did in Game 5.
Rockets have turned the ball over 4 times, and the Celtics have made baskets each occasion. The Celtics have yet to turn it over. That's a big early statistic with 8:12 to go in the first period. Ainge all over Lloyd. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Akeem knocked away by Bird. 3-on-1 for Boston. Dennis Johnson draws the foul. Another turnover. And it could be 2 more points for the Celtics.
What great defense, though, by Danny Ainge to not allow Louis Lloyd to make the inbound pass till much too late. And here's Bird, comes over at the last instant and knocks it away. Akeem thought it was being played 1-on-1.
And they had, the Rockets, only 3 seconds left on the clock when he went up with a shot. Meanwhile, Robert Reed commits his second personal, and here's Dennis Johnson, who has gone to the free throw line more than anyone for the Celtics in the series.
Well, for 2 games, he penetrated an awful lot, trying to lift the Twin Towers. Instead, they gave him a lot of shots going to the basket, so he does get fouled, mostly by the guards, however.
You see the banners atop Boston Garden, and the Celtics intent on tacking up number 16 today. But Dennis Johnson misses 2, and the Celtics are 0 for 4 from the line early on here. Robert Reed, Dennis Johnson on him.
Well, they're taking a page out of the Rockets defense, making them waste time in the backcourt.
Crowd boos Sampson every time he touches the ball. McRae going in. What a move by McRae. He switched hands, got the layup, and draws the foul.
What a great pick that time by Olajuwon. Watch Olajuwon just step out on Larry Bird, allows McRae to swoop in there against McHale. Nothing much McHale could do once McRae got to the top of his jump.
He's had a great series, and when you look at his numbers and Larry Bird's numbers, he has done everything possible to stay even with Bird. A tremendous accomplishment.
That was one of the goals of Bill Fitch. If McRae can sort of offset Bird, he said, we win.
Foul, of course, was on McHale, and it's 14-9 with 7.5 minutes remaining in the first period. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn. Game 6, Boston Garden. Parrish crashing the board. McHale. Inside, Ainge had position, but he lost the ball. But the Celtics are getting position inside on the Rockets.
They're getting the offensive rebounds early.
Plenty of time on the shot clock. Olajuwon with Bird doubling. Sampson wasn't expecting the pass. 5 seconds. McRae better put it up. Sampson winds up on a new clock with 7 minutes to go in the period.
One of the things Casey Jones didn't want was somebody taking off on the fast break before the rebound. Larry Bird did.
Inside to Akeem. Ainge knocked it away, and another turnover. The Celtics playing pesky defense. Parrish with a couple of fakes and a basket. Lead is 7 for the Celtics. Their biggest lead was 8. Lewis Lloyd pulls up, in and out. And now the Celtics can establish their biggest lead so far. Dennis Johnson does it. All 5 Celtics have scored.
I will tell you, the Celtics are dominating both boards right now. They're blocking out with the exception of only one time. Larry Bird. Everybody's putting a body on somebody.
Akeem Olajuwon double, throws it right into the hands of Bird. There's a 4-on-1 break for the Celtics. And Ainge, with 6 minutes to go, has given the Celtics an 11-point lead. And a 20-second timeout called by Bill Fitch.
As Larry Bird. And Bird is going to take off, I believe, on... Let's take a look at Larry Bird. Inside he comes. And right protecting the lane on the weak side on the double. And off they go on the fast break. Now, Bird was the man that was tripling every time. And the Rockets started to really tee off on his man. Now the Celtics not using that quite as much.
You saw the turnover points, 12-0. 7 turnovers committed by Houston, none by the Celtics. They're playing nearly flawless first period. Sampson crashing the boards of the Rockets. Loose ball. McHale goes after it and throws the pass behind Danny Ainge. They corrected an earlier foul. First we said it was Lloyd, then Reed. They went back to Lewis Lloyd. So Lloyd has one and Robert Reed has one here in the first period.
The Rockets being forced more to their half-court offense, and that's where the Celtics feel they have an advantage.
Sampson is 0 for 3 so far. Olajuwon has 2 points. Reed with a tough shot. Akeem in a crowd is fouled. And Larry Bird slams the ball on the floor in disgust. We talked about the rebounding. Here's what happened in Game 5. Look at that huge edge by Houston. But right now, the numbers read like this. They're all even, but the Celtics have gotten the key rebound.
And they're getting on the offensive glass a lot better themselves, the Celtics, than they did at any time down in Houston.
Tommy Robert Parrish has picked up his second personal foul. And in the last game, at least, Bill Walton played more minutes. And it seems that Walton has played a bigger role than Robert the last couple of games. The Celtics would like to keep Parrish in there as much as possible.
Absolutely. But he's going to have a tough job guarding Olajuwon one up because Olajuwon has got all those moves.
1 out of 2 for Akeem. Been a 66% free throw shooter in this series. McHale. Sampson tried to overplay and got burned.
Dick, he's playing passive. He's not just right. The poise a little bit gone from his game.
And you may say that about the Rockets in general. They look just tentative out here with a lot of pressure of playing in the Garden Court. Olajuwon with a turnaround. Many of the Rocket shots are wild. Watch Parrish run the court. Robert Reed alertly steals from behind. A 4-on-3 Rocket break, and Lewis Lloyd comes in with the hoop with 4:25 remaining in the first.
That was a great defensive play by Robert Reed to make that steal from behind on Parrish.
Parrish was running the court, as many people have seen him in the past. He's been picking his spots most of the series, however. Lloyd is on Dennis Johnson. Sampson again trying to overplay McHale. Couple of fakes stripped away, and Reed has made 2 fine steals in succession. Lloyd hits the jumper, and with under 4 minutes to go, the Celtic lead is down to 8.
When they run, the Rockets get everything turned loose. Good rebounding, and Lewis Lloyd in particular.
Lloyd is having his best start of the series. Ames baseline, quick pass, Bird to Dennis Johnson. Olajuwon has it knocked away, and a foul called by Jake O'Donnell against Boston.
Casey Jones wanted the Celtics to have more than a one-pass offense this afternoon. Move it around. Make the Rockets use their legs on defense.
And here is Bill Walton replacing Robert Parrish for the Celtics. Parrish goes out, having scored 4 points and 2 fouls. Walton has had a tremendous series as a rebounder. He made that key basket off an offensive rebound in game number 4.
Yeah, Walton, though, does not muscle a low post man as well as Parrish does. So Akeem probably will get better low post position to make those swinging moves.
Ames committed the foul on Olajuwon, and there is Jim Peterson, and anytime one of the towers goes out of the ball game, Peterson gets the call, and he has been nothing short of magnificent the last 2 games off the bench.
Well, particularly with that 3-on-2 rebounding that the Celtics were allowing, he was coming in virtually uncontested.
So if that doesn't happen, you don't see Peterson producing those same rebounding numbers.
Not when you put a body on him, and he may even pick up some fouls.
1 out of 2 for Akeem. By the way, Olajuwon and Sampson have not gotten a basket yet, and we have 3.5 minutes to play in the opening session. Celtics by 7. Ames to Dennis Johnson. There's Walton. Doesn't usually shoot from outside. 2 seconds on the clock. Fall away by Dennis Johnson, and the 24-second clock expired. We're at Boston Garden for Game 6 of the NBA Finals between the Houston Rockets and the Boston Celtics. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn. And the Celtics with an early lead, led by as much as 12. It's down to 7.
I'll tell you, the Rockets played very, very good defense that time. They forced the Celtics to take a very difficult shot.
Boston has committed 4 turnovers after Houston committed the first 7. Keep in mind that Olajuwon has 4 points, all from the free throw line. Sampson has yet to score. All 5 Celtics starters have scored and have at least 4 points.
Now, who do you go to if you're the Rockets? Parrish did a decent job on Olajuwon, and the smarter doubles of Olajuwon caused some turnover.
Maybe they go to Akeem again and maybe try to get Walton working and in foul trouble. Olajuwon playing way outside. 8 seconds on the shot clock and throws it away. He was looking for McRae, and that's the 8th turnover against Houston. So a timeout is called. 2:54 to go in the first period. The Celtics lead. This is a big many sailboats on the Charles River, Tommy. The fans are either here or home watching the game.
Well, you can't plug in your television set out there anyplace, can you?
Well, they have ways now. There's the Boston skyline. It's rained the last few days here in Boston, but today is a gorgeous day. And inside Boston Garden, we'll take a look at how the shooting has gone thus far. The Celtics, 58%, Houston 42. Keep in mind, the Rockets have not shot 50% in any game of this series.
Rockets have played in the prior games good defense, making the Celtics use a lot of time in the backcourt.
Steal by Olajuwon. And gets an easy bucket. And now it's a 5-point Celtic lead. Rockets have reeled off 7 in a row now. Lloyd has played the entire period and has played well. More aggressive, and there's another turnaround and another Hakeem Olajuwon foray. And now the lead is cut to 3, and the crowd is a bit upset right now, not to mention Casey Jones.
Well, they double-teamed Walton. He was trying to find Bird, but couldn't get the ball away.
9 straight run off by the Rockets. Quieting the crowd. The visitors from Houston. Into Walton, and Olajuwon makes another steal. Under 2 minutes to go in the period, and Rodney McRae, with great acceleration, scores, and it's a 1-point game, 11 straight, and the Celtics have gone to sleep right now, and a 20-second timeout called by the Celtics.
I'll tell you, Olajuwon is just playing sensational defense with his feet. Now, you watch. You got to move your feet in order to go out there and make a steal. He timed it perfectly, and away he went. But now watch what he does. He gets that soccer defense hand in there and a nice clean pick away. And here he comes, steps in once again. And most centers don't have the real versatile feet like Olajuwon. And there's McRae, and I'll tell you, once he goes up in the air, Bird cannot stop him.
You know, Tommy, everyone talks about the goalie in soccer, but another sport that Hakeem Olajuwon played was team handball, and a lot of people think that quickness with his hand has also paid off in making those kinds of plays. Sampson out to meet McHale. 1-point lead for the Celtics. Walton scores inside after seeing Olajuwon play a tune on him. McRae goes all the way in, gets the basket, and a foul. Rodney McRae, who really has played a tough series in several areas, and Walton commits the foul, his first.
I will tell you, they advanced the ball so quickly that Walton has to really adjust and switch out on McRae, but it was much too late. They are taking the inbound pass and getting it up the floor exceptionally fast, the Rockets.
McRae is the only Rocket player who has played 40 or more minutes in the series. The Celtics have Bird, Dennis Johnson, and McHale who have gone 40 or more. This is the shot. Olajuwon has it. And McHale clears. The Celtic lead is 24-23. McRae had an opportunity to tie the game. 1:18 on the clock, first period. Bird, read on him now, spins inside and draws the foul.
You know, he has not been able to do that for a couple of ball games. McRae has been playing him super solid straight away, so that, and backed off just a little bit so that spin move wasn't there.
That was Reed's second foul. Celtics in the penalty, but not the Rockets, and McHale scores. He leads Boston with 8. Celtics by 3. The Rockets had scored 13 of the last 15 points. And McRae's pass thrown out of bounds, and Olajuwon looks at him and says, yeah, that was for me.
I'll tell you that inexperience that time showed in McRae's game a little bit. He should have just kept up in the air and stuffed it.
48 seconds in the period, 13 on the shot clock. Bird. Larry Bird has 6.
And McRae gave him good position.
Lloyd loses it to Bird. And they're going to jump this up. And Bird is yelling at Danny Ainge to come closer and try and get the ball.
He wanted him to come back to pass, and Ainge was practically taken off. But here's Bird hustling. I'll tell you, inspiration, there it is. When he goes down on the floor, the rest of them will fly through the building. But look at the pushing and grabbing. It'll be a jump ball.
Bird angry at his teammate in that play, and that's the kind of intensity that he brings to this game 6. He'll be jumping against Olajuwon and giving up a few inches, to say the least. But Bird has that savvy and the timing, and the Celtics have it.
Boy, he just created enough room for himself to get up there and tip the ball. I'll tell you, that is really smart. There's no way I thought he'd get the tip against Olajuwon.
10 seconds on the shot clock. Bird takes McRae into the air, and Walton follows. No basket.
Should have been a basket. He hit the ball after it hit the glass.
I think they blew the whistle before Walton went up with it.
No, it was on Bird's shot. Looked to me like Olajuwon goaltended it too.
12 seconds to go in the period. The Celtics lead by 5, and here's Larry Bird on the line. 95% free throw shooter, misses the first.
Here it is. I guess he didn't. But he hit his hand instead of the ball, and that's where the foul was.
And the Celtics make their first free throw of the game after missing 5. Lead by 6, and the Rockets playing for the last shot of the first period. Olajuwon. And a 3-second violation with 1 second to go turns it over to Boston. Ainge to McHale, and that'll do it. There were 18 turnovers in the first period, 11 by the Houston Rockets. And the Boston Celtics have forged a 6-point lead over the Houston Rockets after 1 period of the NBA Finals 6 games. The NBA Finals on CBS, game number 6 here at Boston Garden between the Houston Rockets, the Western Conference champions, and the Boston Celtics. The score after 1 period of play is 29-23 Boston, but Tommy, Houston had 11 turnovers and Ralph Sampson didn't score.
As they're still in striking distance, the Rockets, you would think with 11 turnovers the Celtics would be ahead by more. And Ralph Sampson, I think in that quarter, overreacted to the fight situation down in Houston, became much more passive than he had been in a prior game.
So Jim Peterson, who has 21 rebounds in the last 2 championship games, is in there. Kevin McHale, who has 8 points, starts on the bench, and Robert Parrish, who has 2 personals, is in there.
And Walton is going to be guarding Olajuwon.
Dennis Johnson on the turnover, number 12 against the Rockets. Pounding the ball, keeping it on the floor. Half-court offense. Not seeing as much isolation with Bird so far as we did in the previous game. Dennis Johnson with 4 seconds on the clock misses. Peterson in there, but Olajuwon gets the rebound.
And good speed, 3-on-2.
Peterson spinning against Bird is short. McRae is there, using his body well, and it's 29-25. Tommy, the Celtics now have their version of the Twin Towers with Parrish and Walton in there at the same time.
But I don't think Boston's Twin Towers nearly as effective as Houston's can be.
They got a lot of age, though. Parrish and Walton. Finally, Walton scored. It worked there. Peppered the offensive glass. Reed setting it up. Wiggins in the ball game, handling the ball, guarded by Ainge. An illegal defense call against the Boston Celtics. That's a warning. The next time will mean a technical foul.
It was probably against Bird, who went over that imaginary line that goes down the middle of the foul lane.
He likes to play that free safety position, doesn't he?
Yep.
Olajuwon inside. Darryl Garrettson calls a foul. Bird and Walton were both inside defending. And the foul is against Walton, and that'll be his second.
Walton, as I said, will give up deeper position to Akeem. That's why Bird was trying to cheat over there and cut off that baseline attack angle.
Kevin McHale, who leads the Celtics with 8 points, returns to the game, and Walton's going to go out. Danny Ainge talking to Casey Jones. And here's Akeem Olajuwon on the line. He leads, second to the Rockets in 8, and throws up a wild free throw.
Be interesting to see who plays Akeem now, Parrish with the 2 fouls or McHale.
Hale has 1 foul. Olajuwon 5 for 8 from the free throw line. Minute and a half gone by here in the second period. Celtics lead 3 games to 2 in the final. Bird coming off the screen. 6 on the clock. Olajuwon outlets to Wiggins. Celtics are back on defense. Wiggins, when he gets hot, he can burn you, and if he gets cold for a while, he may miss him forever.
Well, that's not the type of shot Bill Fitch wanted him to take.
Filling the lane is Kevin McHale. Got everything but the basket. Now the Rockets come back 3-on-2.
Well, McHale's missed some easy ones.
Olajuwon. Acrobatics in the air with 9:40 to go, and the Celtics lead again is cut to 3, 31-28.
I tell you, the Rockets are giving all-out hustle here.
Well, they're not intimidated at all by the home court, at least the way they're showing now.
Forget the Boston Garden for them right now.
Bird feeding Dennis Johnson. And a Houston foul.
Watch Danny Ainge being clocked by Jim Peterson. Get out of the way. You don't belong in here. You're a guard.
Boy, he took a header. Foul was on Wiggins, his first, a timeout in a 3-point game.
Building before the doors open today. How do they get here? This is the popular entry. Up the fire escape up on the roof, but today they have dogs up there. And another entry is through the air vents. They found somebody sleeping in the air vents overnight. But the front door seems to be the best way to get in the garden. And what do you say? Not I'm a friend of Larry Bird. The best line is, I'm a friend of the Kennedys. Let's go back legally inside to Dick Stockton.
Tommy, did you see Pat O'Brien in an air vent getting into the garden today earlier?
Well, wasn't he?
We told him we'd give him a ticket.
He looked like he had a little dust around his mustache there.
He wanted to do it the hard way. The Boston Celtics, who are trying to wrap up number 16, had a chance in Game 5 in Houston. It was a wild game with a fight. Rockets came back. Now Houston has to do it on the road and win both games here. And right now, they're giving the Celtics quite a tussle, trailing 31-28, 9:26 to go in the first half.
Well, Boston has not changed their guards at all. I see Seasting right now getting off the bench. Danny Ainge has been a little ill for a couple of days.
Saw the Boston shooting this period, 1 for 7, so they've cooled off considerably. Pushing foul. Jim Peterson doesn't like it, as there's Jerry Seasting coming into the ball game. He was the other party in the Sampson fracas the other night.
I tell you, that was a gutsy thing to pick up a 7'4" guy going to the basket on a fast break.
McHale with 10 points leads the Celtics. Peterson with 1 foul. Winding down and 9 minutes to go in the first half. Rockets have not had the lead in this game. Celtics were up by 12. It's cut to 1. Seasting slapping away level with 3 seconds to go. Level with a 3-point prayer. Misses. McHale the rebound. Seasting in the forecourt. Good defense by Seasting on Allen Level. Harris. Baseline. Goes for the offensive rebound with McHale in that reach. McHale so tough with that reach. Got to work doubly hard. And now the Rockets with a 4-on-3 chance. Rodney McRae. Dennis Johnson now.
They waited much too long to take the shot, the Rockets. Olajuwon was in great low post position.
We haven't seen their sheer speed as we did in the last game. Bird goes up and nearly got the basket. He'll go to the line, though.
I'll tell you, that was strictly playing it for the foul. He felt the contact, instinctively knew the whistle was going to be there. He had a quarter of a step, and there was a little fake at a double team. Slides nice, doesn't he?
Is that what Brent was talking about before the game with that silicone spray? Foul is on McRae.
Used to love to play baseball. That was a slide into third.
Not the way they teach you down in the Florida camps, for sure. Larry Bird practices during the off-season. Says he can't wait for the season to end, that he can start practicing. Wishes next year would start tomorrow. 7-point Celtic lead. Bird has 9. 8 minutes to go in the first half. Level finds an opening. Try to change hands. Here's Bird. 3-on-1 Boston. Pass back. Bird. Timeout. Houston. Celtics have it up to 9 once more. to be no exception. The final round of the Westchester should be a sizzling finale. Ray Floyd, Mike Reed, and Bob Tway all knotted for the lead, and that will follow our NBA game number 6 of the NBA Finals. Now, as we go out to Charlestown, there's the USS Constitution, and I think that some of the woodwinds may be missing as we move in closely to some of the fine music, Tom.
I mean, they're playing music right now to about 14 people. There's more people in the band. I wonder where the crowd normally, or that normally goes there, is today. It couldn't be that they're interested in the Celtics.
No, and they're not on the Charles River in their sailboats. Meanwhile, inside Boston Garden, where the Celtics had scored 6 in a row, Ralph Sampson has come back in the game. So Sampson, Peterson, and Olajuwon all in there at the same time. I don't think we've seen that in the series yet. Going with the big lineup.
Seen it once, Dick, that big lineup.
Sampson fighting inside. Olajuwon tried to roll it in, and Bird comes down with it.
Al Parrish did not block out Olajuwon. You got to block him out about 5 feet from the hoop. Don't let him get a running start.
How did the Rockets do when they had that combination?
They did fairly well, Dick, but Peterson may have nightmares guarding Larry Bird.
What a pass to McHale. That's Larry Bird, vintage Larry Bird passing.
They have gotten the ball into his hands. He's a creator.
Peterson gets free inside for a layup with under 7 minutes to go in the first half. Boston leading all the way in this game, are up by 9.
I think Bird forgot he was guarding Peterson.
Third straight year, the NBA Finals will end in Boston either today or Wednesday night if the Rockets can win and send it to 7. Bird, McHale in there, tipped up and in.
That's staying with it, but Bird ought to be able to get a lot of outside shots off picks. Peterson can't fight through them.
Might have been McHale. It is McHale on the tip-in. He has 14 points. Celtics coming back running. McHale goes in and is pushed. McHale and Bird have combined for 25, Tommy.
As Bird gets out on Peterson, and then they forget about McHale, let him roll easily into the hoop. When you get the ball in Bird's hands, anybody that has a half a step on his defender is going to get the ball.
Foul is on Wiggins. Well, that nifty inside-outside passing that the Celtics have done, and now Phil Fitch is going to get a technical foul. I think he wanted it, Tom, don't you?
Well, in a game like this, where you start to see it slip away, perhaps, you try and change the emotion in the ball game by getting a technical foul, sometimes with your players, sometimes just with the referees, to let them know that, hey, I don't think you're calling the game right.
Red Auerbach, no one better at working with refs. That's Don Gaston to his left. Alan Cohen above Don Gaston, 2 of the principal owners of the Celtics.
Red used to have the best stomp on the sideline I ever saw. It was a 1 stomp, 1 foot down, but boy, did it come down hard.
That's what McHale has done already. He has been the best shooter for the Celtics in the series at over 60%.
Sampson had been doing a pretty decent job on him prior to this game. That's where the passive element, I think, is showing its face.
Peterson going up. And a foul against the Celtics, who are on a 13-2 run right now over the Rockets and have their biggest lead of 14 points.
Dick, with those 3 big guys in there at the same time, Wiggins should not be taking outside shots. They should be trying to really post up Bird with Peterson. Wiggins is not even trying to get it to him when he's down there.
Because Wiggins is an off guard, really not your point guard, level more of that role. Foul was on McHale, his second. Bird picking up Level, trying to get inside. Level left open and hits the jump shot. He's had that broken wrist, just getting his shooting eye back. Wiggins gambling for the steal. He's an outstanding defensive player and has shown it in this series.
He sure has, and he's done an outstanding job on that offensive board.
McHale goes in. They're going to call goaltending against Olajuwon, who is helping out on Ralph Sampson. But credit the basket to McHale, who has 18 now.
He started to get that shadow defense in action in the last ball game. Did it an awful lot against the Lakers in that series.
Wiggins and Seasting had love pats as Wiggins went by. Peterson going strong, blocked by McHale. And a Rocket foul. That'll be 3 on Akeem Olajuwon, and Robert Reed will get the call from Bill Fitch now.
You know, Olajuwon is so good with his hands on defense. I'm sure Bill Fitch is sometimes reluctant to say, don't go for the ball when somebody pulls it off the glass. But watch what happens. You get called for a great block by McHale. Now Parrish has the outlet, and coming from behind, he hits him on the arm. Now, you can't afford to get too many of those, or you're going to do just exactly what he's doing now. Sit down.
Ralph Sampson will now become the center on the Rockets. And as we've said so many times, and as Ralph has proven, he's a different player when he moves to that position than when he is in the game with Olajuwon. And you see what he's done when he's been in there with Akeem.
Well, he has to become more aggressive now in order to be a factor.
Olajuwon out of the game for the first time. He scored 11 points and has 3 fouls. Reed missing. Wiggins crashing the board. Here's Sampson knocked away by Seaston. Seaston. Bird, 3-point fake. Parrish. And Parrish didn't seem ready for the pass and took too many steps. Danny Ainge has returned. This is Game 6 of the NBA Finals on CBS from Boston Garden, where a capacity crowd as usual at Boston Garden trying to see if the Celtics can wrap up another title. And they're leading by 15 points with 4:40 to go in the first half. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn level, lost the ball. Sampson going in, missing again. Several of the Rocket shots have been good shots. They've just come off the rim, Tommy.
Now, that may really hurt Sampson's psyche in this ball game. That was one he should have scored.
He's 0 for 5 from the field. McHale and Level knocked it away. Alan Level alertly coming over to help. Wiggins scores. Just about 4 minutes remaining. Lead is 13 for the Celtics.
You know, the Lakers had trouble putting these Rockets away. They would hang around, hang around. Boston has to be a little careful here. Can't let them back in the ball game even at this stage.
I don't think the Rockets wilt at any time.
No, they are with you all the way, and they got that explosive running game that can come into play at any time.
McHale spinning around, missing. Sampson loses the ball to Parrish. The aggressive factor that you talked about. Sampson was in a better position than Parrish there, but didn't hold on. 10 on the shot clock. Parrish. And Wiggins fighting Bird, who feeds McHale. Bird is a presence all over the floor, and he was inside on that play.
Court savvy, you just saw it.
Peterson against McHale with a good fake. And the Rockets come away empty again with 3 minutes to go in the first half.
Not eating a no. Danny Ainge going to get in there on the boards.
Level knocks it away again to Reed. Reed to Level. Bird back and fouls Alan Level. And that'll be Bird's first foul of the game, and a smart one. Timeout. 2:49 remaining in the first half.
The greatest invention in travel since the wheel is American Airlines ultimate.
Brent, we heard the chant beat L.A. We know why when Magic Johnson was there last week. What about today? What's the story?
Well, the reason why Dick Stockton, one of our guests, the coach of Beat L.A., Pat Riley, and also the new coach of the Chicago Bulls, Doug Collins. Doug, this is some chant in here.
Yeah, my goal is to walk into this building with Pat Riley and have them chant Beat Chicago. They're not going to beat L.A. this year. We don't have to worry about that.
How about the first half, Pat?
It's aggressiveness, Brent. You know, the Webster's defines it as the disposition to dominate, and I don't think there's any doubt that the Celtics came out with a very destructive attitude today.
How about Ralph Sampson? He's been missing in action.
Well, Brent, I thought he was going to come out, maybe bang someone early, get involved. He has not scored a point and really been inactive the whole ballgame. They need him.
Let's go back to the floor to Dick and Tommy.
Thank you very much, Brent. We said at the outset that Ralph Sampson was a key reason why the Rockets won. Even when he left the game, they played for him the other night when he was thrown out on that fight. And there was a lot of emotion by the Rockets, but their other contending games in Houston were with Sampson playing a solid game. If he is not a factor today, the Rockets, as again we say, are in a lot of trouble.
Bill Walton coming in right now for Robert Parrish. Will be a good time for the Chief to get some rest. They don't want him to pick up a tired foul, Parrish, because they know he's going to be important guarding Olajuwon in the second half.
49-36. Rockets trail by 13. Walton setting a pick in the backcourt. Wiggins staying with Johnson and making Dennis work. Reed is on Bird. Illegal defense called against the Rockets, and so the illegal defense story is all even at one apiece. What are they doing off the boards today? Boston has the edge 27-14 coming into the game. The Rockets had a 48-21 edge offensively the last two games. Knocked away by Wiggins. Loose ball. They're going to call a Houston foul on a pick and roll play.
Boston loves to use Larry Bird coming off picks or pick and roll plays. Now you watch inside. Wiggins almost picked it off. That was hustling weak side play, but Sampson over the top creates the foul situation. But Bird is a creator, and that's what they're going to have him do all afternoon long.
What a tremendous first half for Kevin McHale, going for his 21st point and fails. The Celtics struggled from the line early, and then they've come on strong before he missed. There's a candidate for the MVP award is Kevin McHale, but as long as number 33 produces, everyone is always going to look at him as a favorite. But all that is premature because Game 6, we're not even at halftime, and it's 50-36. The Celtics have control thus far. Sampson's foul, by the way, is first of the game against Walton. And Ralph Sampson is on the board with 2:05 remaining in the first half.
A good sweeping hook shot that time on the catch. That's what he needs to do more of.
Under 2 minutes to go in the first half. McHale saved it nicely. Last touch by the Rockets. He's the igniter, this man, Danny Ainge, who Tommy mentioned has had intestinal problems, which weakened him a little bit.
Wasn't even able to eat until yesterday.
Reed going against Bird. Going up. Offensive foul will be called against Larry Bird, and Robert Reed was hit in the chest, and he's shaken up.
And he played excellent defense that time, but that's the price you pay for foot faking Bird and then wheeling back into the lane. You just watch him now. He foot fakes Bird, lets him think that he's got the lane to the basket, and then quickly gets back to it.
Made a good recovery. Bird's foul is second. Sampson trying to get unleashed, misses, gets the rebound. Wild shot, Bird, and McHale.
Dick, there are a ton of white jerseys around every shot the Houston Rockets take. No offensive rebounds for the red jerseys.
It's like Sampson is just throwing up every chance he can get. Look at that pass. McHale to Walton and a Houston foul. That's what the Rockets have to do with that inside passing, not much else.
I'll tell you right now, the Celtics have spread out the Rockets defense, and they're able to go and utilize the two big guys the Celtics have down low. And McHale, when he starts passing, he's not too bad either.
Foul is on Sampson, his second. Despite all of that, the Celtics have played one of their patented games in the first half, are leading by 12 at this point. So the Rockets still in this fray, to say the least.
I will tell you, I would be very leery of the Rockets. They will come out, and they know the second half they have to go all out, and I'm sure they will.
The Celtics have missed 9 of 17 free throws in the first half. 1:10 remaining. Going in is level. He tried to pass inside, no one there. 2-on-2 break, Danny Ainge. Going up, Peterson was down court. And Danny Ainge will go to the line and shoot.
Peterson was going for the ball, a good all-out hustle. Went for the ball and just ended up hitting Danny on the head. It was all going for the ball.
Second foul is on Jim Peterson. Elijah Wan is the only Rocket with 3. No Celtic has 3 personal fouls, and Ainge misses, and now the Celtics are 8 for 18 from the line.
I'll tell you, when he starts missing, you know you're having a bad day from the line. He is excellent free throw shooter.
That was only his second miss in the series, and the Celtics leading by 13 under a minute to go in the first half. Rockets haven't gotten much from Sampson. Elijah Wan on the bench with 3 fouls. Outside shot is missed by Robert Reed. Ainge to Bird. Pulls up at the line. 13 for Larry, 14 for Larry Bird.
Has it been in his hands? It sure has.
Not as a passer, but as a shooter. Then he started to pass off. And the Celtics committing a foul, and they'll be in the penalty. Rockets will shoot 2. Dennis Johnson is first.
A little psychology. When they get Bird off shooting well, then the defense adjusts to him, and that's when he starts making those passes count.
Robert Reed missing outside. Wiggins tries to keep it alive. Why did the Celtics go away from that motif in the early games and make him more of a passer than a shooter?
I think when this man started to try and penetrate a lot more, Dennis Johnson, they got away from getting the ball to Bird. It worked in game 4 for DJ, but not in 5.
Bird knocked away, and another Rocket foul. Game has been called well and called tight to make sure things don't get out of hand. Bill Walton talking to Mitchell Wiggins. And now Wiggins going back to Walton. There's a mismatch. That foul was on Peterson, his 3rd. 3 on Jim Peterson.
Bird is being much more aggressive on those isolations, trying to take it to the hoop, draw a defender, and the Rockets are coming down at him much more than they did in the last 2 games.
Larry Bird very close to a triple-double already in this first half. He won't get it, of course, with 10 seconds to go, but he has 8 rebounds and 8 assists and a double-figure score.
You know, I was with Red Auerbach the first time he ever saw Larry Bird play, and in 5 minutes, Red said, this guy is going to be a great player. He had 5 assists in 3 minutes.
But he didn't tell everyone else, did he?
No, he didn't.
He probably walked away in disgust.
Everybody else knew, too.
Final second. It is still Rocket ball with 1 second to go. Celtics have their biggest lead of the game right now, 17 points. Rockets have 1 second to get it something off. Well, they did against the Lakers, and they won level from the corner at the buzzer, and that'll do it. Crowd gives the Celtics a standing O. At the end of 1/2 of Game 6, the game that could give the Celtics the title over Bill Fitch and the Rockets, it's Boston 55, Houston 38. Brent Musburger coming up at the half.
Live from Boston, CBS Sports coverage of the 1986 NBA Finals is sponsored by the new Chrysler Corporation. They don't want to be the biggest, they just want to be the best. And by Cigna, whose companies provide an array of insurance, healthcare, employee benefits, and financial services around the world.
So we are at the half, and believe me, it could have been a lot worse if the Boston Celtics had not missed 10 free throws. They've dominated it. And Pat Riley, the coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, as we watch your compatriot Doug Collins coming through in his days, there you are when you were playing with the Lakers, going scrambling, and of course here you were as a coach with the Lakers, having been knocked out by the Rockets, but you know so well what it's like here in a Game 6. What is it about this building? Now, I know you were able to conquer that last year, but what happens when you come to the Garden?
Well, the emotional stability of any team is very important here, Brent, because when it comes down to Game 6, and it means the difference between winning and losing a championship, 3-2, Boston senses it, they feel it, they smell it. You, as an opponent, have to treat the crowd like you would your nagging wife or your wife would a nagging husband. You got to block it out. You got to try to. You can't let it get you around.
I've never been able to do that.
But they're just going to have to remain strong. If you're a unified team, and you have a reason to win other than just a championship, then they'll find a way to get back into this game in the second half.
Now, Doug, you were in a 6 game as a player out in Portland back in 1977, and you lost it. What about the psychology of a player being on the road?
Well, I think it's very difficult. We had a similar situation, as you said, in Portland. We're going to Game 6. You know, we had the big fight in Game 2. We jumped out 2-0 and had the big fight, turned things around. Maurice Lucas, who is now with L.A., pulled a big psych job that game. When the starting lineups were introduced at Game 3, he ran down and shook Darryl Dawkins' hand. So little things happen in these series.
You know, I'm shocked that the Rockets are not playing with any fire in their bellies, if you will, and we're going to get back and talk some more basketball, but there is some other sports developments around the world today. For example, Yvonne Lendl captured his second French Open championship in the last 3 years. Now, he defeated the Swedish player Pernfors, who attended Georgia and won 2 NCAA tennis championships. Lendl, who was in the far court, put him away in straight sets, and this was typical of the kind of action you can expect on the slower surface over there in Paris. And so Yvonne Lendl stamps himself as the player to beat once they get to Wimbledon. Now, Westchester is coming up here next on CBS, and Raymond Floyd, the veteran, has moved to the top of the leaderboard with a 1-stroke lead. And as soon as we conclude our proceedings, and of course, if the Celtics win, they will pick up the Larry O'Brien Trophy right after the game. But now let's get back to Pat Riley and Doug Collins. And Pat, what did happen to the Lakers? I know you've never been asked that question, but what did happen to the Lakers against the Rockets?
Well, it was a very painful experience, Brent. You know, we had, if there was a disappointment in that whole particular series and finish, was the fact that we couldn't be here to defend it against the Boston Celtics, the team that we took the championship away from last year. But Houston deserves a lot of credit. They came strong, they came hard, they came on a regular basis. We did not make the plays we had to make in critical situations, and that cost us the game.
Now, will you have major changes on the Lakers before next season? You need some more muscle underneath against the Rockets. Will you go out and make some deals?
We have a great team, Brent, and we're not going to overreact to the situation. I think the one thing we have to do is we have to get a little longer. Let's be realistic that size isn't the most important factor. If you're going to beat Houston or you're going to beat Boston, you're going to have to get taller and better, and that's what we're looking for.
All right, Doug, you take on a little bit tougher job, trying to elevate the Chicago Bulls. You've got a great player in Michael Jordan. What kind of style will Collins bring to the Bulls?
Well, Brent, I want to play an aggressive, fast break style, a lot like Pat Riley, pressure defense. Get out, let the guys have fun. Basketball is a game meant to have fun. Try to utilize a Michael Jordan's abilities. Give it some stability. There's been 9 coaches there in 10 years, and I want to be 3 things. I want to be firm, fair, and consistent.
You know, Doug, I was told that Quentin Daly will not be back with the Bulls, but let me ask you about another player, Orlando Woolridge. Will you bring him back?
Well, it's a very delicate situation right now. If the Boston is to win today, he becomes a free agent, and now we have to wait. Does he get an offer sheet? Are we able to sign him? Pat knows it's a very difficult thing with the free agents.
All right, we're going to come back and talk about the Houston Rockets and the Boston Celtics. Can they come back? Well, we'll hear from Pat and Doug after these messages from your local station. And the Celtics well on their way to NBA championship number 16 here this afternoon. And, you know, Pat and Doug, in every athlete's life, there is that moment when you either stand up and make yourself counted or you shrink from it. And I must say, Doug, that I think Ralph Sampson has shrunk completely from it here today.
Well, Brent, I know that in Game 6 after Portland, I did not play well. I remember I had 6 points. We lost by 2. You carry that with you all summer. Ralph Sampson has got to make his presence felt, or he doesn't want to go into the summertime with this kind of feeling.
Well, we can take a look at the kind of series he's had. He opened up 1 for 13, and, of course, then he played pretty well for 3 games. He was ejected, a fight that he himself knows that he started. And then here this afternoon, this is the kind of accounting he's giving of himself, Pat Riley.
Well, it's important for a player, especially after what happened the other night, Brent, and the kind of reaction that came out of the media about the getting thrown out of that game down in Houston. There was no way that Ralph could come back weak. He had to come back strong. I would even say that probably the first thing he should have done was maybe knock somebody over. I'm talking about a hard foul or to establish an aggressiveness that he has not shown in the first half.
Doug and Pat, let me ask you about what Bill Fitch can do to get his team back in this game. The Celtics are playing very well here today.
Well, you know, I was looking at the turnovers. Houston turned the ball over 11 times in the first quarter. They were down 22-10. There was a breakaway layup. Robert Reed made a great steal. I thought that they had weathered the storm and got back in it. And Pat and I were talking, but the Celtics are just wearing them out.
Pat?
The game is broken down into skirmishes, Brent. The Celtics came out with a great run, 22-10. Olajuwon keyed them to get back into the game for Houston. Boston had another skirmish. They won 2 out of the 3 in the first half. And if there's a big skirmish at the beginning of the third quarter, and if it's by Boston, it's going to be a world championship for them this year.
And the next time we get a tight shot of Larry Bird, take a look at those eyes. They're burning with desire right now to win number 16. We come back. Dick Stockton and Tommy Heinsohn will take you into that critical third period, and we will continue in just a moment.
We're back here in Boston and looking at the shooting percentages. Keep in mind that the Celtics have won when they have shot 50% in this series. Houston is under 40 right now. Taking a look at the rebounds, and the Celtics have a 4-rebound edge off the offensive glass. That's a change of tune. As far as the power forward matchup, strictly no contest right now, and we've already talked a lot about Ralph Sampson and how he has not really done the job thus far. Tommy Heinsohn, of all those numbers, I think the rebounding numbers is the one that you look at first. And why have the Celtics dominated the Rockets right now?
They changed their triple teaming and double teaming strategy on Olajuwon, which was allowing the Rockets to gang rebound on the weak side. Now everybody's blocking a man, and they're much better in control of the defensive board, the Celtics.
All right, Pat O'Brien just talked with Bill Fitch moments ago, and here's what Pat and Bill talked about. Let's go to it.
Bill, first of all, what's wrong with Ralph?
Well, you know, he's not having one of his better ball games, but there's 2 halves. I think probably he's well aware of the way he's played, and maybe we'll see him come back and have a little bit better second half now.
What can you do to get back into this thing?
Well, I think the thing we have to do is a bunch of avoid spots. I think we have to avoid any letdown here early. We can't let them jump on us. We've got to go out and get ourselves about a 10-point spread in the third quarter, and then see if we can get back into it. If we can get it down to 10 going into the fourth quarter, we'll be in good shape.
You're confident?
Well, I'm confident now. We can't play worse than we played.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Back to Dick.
And the leading scorers in the first half, Kevin McHale with 21, Olajuwon with 11, and he went to the bench with 3 fouls. McHale and Bird accounted for 22 of the Celtics' 26 points in the second period. And now, Tommy, the Celtics playing at home, going into the third period, which they practically owned in this series.
Well, they have to not be too cautious, the Celtics. Run when they have it. The Rockets really have to start taking those rebounds back away from the Celtics.
McRae, who went to the bench when they went with Olajuwon, Sampson, and Peterson. Over Bird, long shot. McHale clears. No chance for an offensive rebound that time for Houston.
Usually you come out of the huddle and you try to get something going to the hoop. Very good defense that time by the Celtics.
McHale's screening out Lloyd. Bird. Sampson with the rebound. Outlets to Lloyd. Best play is an open court player, and Lloyd is fouled. This is the story in the third period. Houston made an exception of Game 5, but other than that, it's been all Boston. And you heard Bill Fitch talk about it and Pat Riley about what happens when the Celtics come out storming.
I think that's where Casey Jones was most concerned about what happened down in Houston in Game 5. Felt the Celtics did not hustle enough in the third quarter, but I'm sure they will here at home.
Foul was on Dennis Johnson, his second personal foul. Bill Fitch has stuck with Lewis Lloyd. A lot of people thought maybe he should go to Wiggins to start, but he has stayed with Lewis.
Well, if they can get running, Lewis Lloyd's a weapon. They haven't been able to consistently keep running, so his game has been in and out.
Bird, double trade, triple team. Parrish is fouled. Parrish got free. There had to be someone free with all those red jerseys around Bird.
Well, that's what Bird loves to do, Dick, is that pick and roll play, and if you really don't play the defense just perfect, somebody's going to get an easy shot.
Foul was against Lewis Lloyd. The Celtics continue to stumble from the line. They are 11 of 22. And miss another one. They are dreadful from the free throw line, and hopefully for them it won't come back to haunt them.
Well, you know how many times in games missing foul shot have turned the tide.
Ainge harassing Lloyd. Bird doubling Akeem right now, and Parrish blocks the shot. Quickly out to Ainge from Bird. Sampson is back, and Danny Ainge with a nifty reverse layup, scores over the 7-4 Sampson.
Sampson reluctant to go for the block.
Matching their biggest lead, 17. Reed for 3. Rims the basket. Ames. And Lloyd runs it up for the Rockets. 4 on 3. High rainbow shot for Lloyd.
Well, Danny Ainge took a bad shot in the corner. They don't want to get in a running game with the Rockets. They've only been playing 6 guys most of this series. They want to keep the tempo, slow down, take only good fast breaks.
That's the one thing that upsets Casey Jones when they start to play freelance, get away from inside. Bird misses. Sampson gets the rebound. Under 10 minutes to go, third period. Lloyd going in all the way. McHale got a piece of it. And a foul called against the Houston Rockets.
Oh, these trivia questions are tough. Okay, Boom Boom. What did Al Capone say when surrounded by the FBI?
Heck it off.
He's right. I don't believe it. Name the English band that performed the first rock opera. Who? He's right again. Amazing. All right. What beer tastes so good it's the second largest selling beer in America?
Miller Lite.
Coming right up. You won the game.
This game is easy. No question about it. There's only one light beer. Miller Lite.
This is what it's like on this Sunday afternoon in Boston. And some people are just having a delightful afternoon. The Celtics and their fans are having a delightful afternoon thus far inside Boston Garden.
Robert Parrish, very, very important defensively against Olajuwon because he does not give good low post position. And he's big enough on that baseline move to challenge the shot, something McHale was not able to do. And look what happens when those good blocks. Layups. Ralph Sampson not really truly contesting to make that block.
Hakeem Olajuwon picked up his 4th personal foul. The front line scoring, which heavily favored the Rockets last game, reversed this time.
Casey Jones made a great substitution in the first half to keep Parrish out of his 3rd foul.
Dennis Johnson looking for Parrish. Olajuwon gets his 5th. Rockets really have to go to the drawing board. Parrish, ball drop score. 7 points for Robert Parrish. Quickly up court is Lewis Lloyd. And Lewis Lloyd hitting 12 points, having his best game of the 6.
Well, when he comes at you one-on-one, he's one of the more difficult players to stop, Lou Lloyd.
The Celtics have been aggressive. The Rockets tentative. Celtics have made the adjustments inside. Olajuwon gets the rebound. Rockets have had trouble hitting their outside shots. Early turnovers hurt. Lloyd faking Dennis Johnson. And Sampson. Reed tries to slam it in on a follow and can't do it.
The Rockets got it up quickly that time. Good outlet pass. They need lots more of that. Keep the foot on the gas pedal. Tire the Celtics out in the 4th quarter.
Bird. This is a bank shot. Sampson brings it up. Passes inside to McRae. And a foul. Good pass by Ralph Sampson, who's been one of the best passing centers and forwards in the NBA this year.
Well, Sampson, I don't think really should be dribbling on the fast break because that allows the big man to pick him up. And that really puts one of the big Celtics in a foot race where he has the decided advantage.
Here's McRae, who earlier in the ball game had a chance to tie things for the Rockets. The Celtics jumped to a 22-10 lead. Houston scored 11 in a row, came within 1. Then remember, McRae missed the free throw. And then the Rockets were outscored the rest of the way, 26-15, and Houston has been going uphill ever since. 1 out of 2 for McRae.
McRae, to me, has been an outstanding player for this Rockets team the entire series. If it's not offense, it's defense.
14-point lead for the Celtics. Their biggest lead has been 17. Early here in this 3rd. And at halftime. Ames. Danny Ainge gets 3 points out of that one.
Big shot. They worked the Rockets defense around. That's what they should be doing. Work it around. Take the Rockets' legs away from them on defense. Don't let them run on the fast break.
Bird coming over to double Sampson. Gets the rebound. The leading rebounder is Bird. Leading playmaker Bird. And there's Johnson feeding Danny Ainge. And if the Rockets don't make a run soon, this could be history. The Celtics are playing scintillating ball, and another fine defensive play.
Look what the Celtics do when they come up with the ball. Quick outlet pass, Bird, and could have been a foul on Bird that time. 3-on-1, quick to the wing, Danny Ainge makes him pay.
Then the Celtics threw it away, and the Rockets coming back with 7:10 to go in the third period. 19-point lead, biggest of the game for Boston. Olajuwon in a crowd. Foul.
Parrish fronted him that time, trying to deny the pass to the deep low post, but they got it over Parrish's head. That doesn't happen very often.
Third foul on McHale, and Olajuwon is at the line. Team had gone to the line coming into this game 18 times more than the next Rocket, and he has gone to the line a lot in this one. He has 12 points, 6 of 9 from the stripe.
Dick, he has the quickest development of center skills I've ever seen for a player coming into the NBA.
And the one thing Bill Fitch says you'll see better of will be his defensive play.
And his passing next year, too.
Just under 7 minutes remaining in the third period. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn at Boston Garden. Sampson was trying to overplay McHale and pushed Kevin. And for Ralph Sampson, that'll be his third foul. Olajuwon is playing with 4. Timeout. Big lead for Boston. You see some of the numbers that have been retired here at Boston Garden. One of them is number 17, and he's with Pat O'Brien right now. Pat?
Thank you, Dick. And number 17 is indeed John Havlicek. What about your most memorable game here in the Boston Garden, John?
I think the most memorable game had to be the Game 5 against Phoenix in 1976 because that particular game had so many ups and downs and highs and lows that I was in the locker room thinking the game was over one time, but that has to be the most memorable.
That was a triple overtime game. Where do you place this Celtics team among all the great Celtics teams?
This is a great Celtic team, and they're much better than our 76 and 74 teams. As far as some of the 60s teams with Russell, I think we'd have to play to find out.
You're part of 8 banners up there. That's over 500. You'd like your percentage to come down a little bit today, wouldn't you?
Definitely so, because this team has meant a lot to me and the city, and once you're a Celtic, you're always a Celtic.
Always a Celtic. John Havlicek, and let's go back to Dick.
Thank you. Tommy?
You know, Dick, John Havlicek, when I started coaching, I wanted him to take the last shots, you know, down the stretch, the last couple of seconds. First time we ran his play, he missed it. He came over to me and said, "I'm sorry I missed it." I said, "John, don't worry. You took it. That's all that's important. You're going to make an awful lot of them." And he did.
Dennis Johnson going in strong to the hoop. Olajuwon trying to come over and help, and Dennis scores. No second shots for Houston. The Rockets know they have to run to win, but the Celtics are running better than the Rockets in this one.
Well, the Celtics controlled the boards. They're still maintaining that control.
They decided to come out aggressively, and the glass is where it's happened. McRae gets one of the rare offensive rebounds, but McHale ties him up. Like octopus.
They have 5 jerseys right around that hoop, ready to a defensive rebound.
And the Rockets 2 for 11. Robert Reed has only 2 points in the game. Olajuwon 13. Ralph Sampson has scored only a bucket.
Well, they put Dennis Johnson to take away Reed's game from him and allowed Ainge to guard Lloyd and try and double off Lloyd.
Normally, the coach would then adjust if there's a next game, but there may not be a next game, Tommy. The last adjustment may have been KC. McHale misses. Parrish fights. And Sampson lost the ball. He had the chance. Here come the Rockets. Rodney McRae scores, but Ralph Sampson is just not alert out there, Tommy.
He has lost his aggressiveness. I think he really overreacted to that fight down in Houston.
Sampson knocks it away from behind, and that is not surprising, especially knowing his temperament and the fact that he's had problems at Boston Garden with that fall. That was a scary fall earlier this year, and then 2 bad games here in the first part of the series.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a tough thing for a young player to come in and get in the finals. Doesn't understand the pressure.
Larry Bird. And the Celtics lead by 20. 5 minutes remaining in the third period. Olajuwon with a neat move inside, and Hakeem has 15. Wiggins, or Lloyd that is, trying to look for the steal. Harris. 9 for Parrish. Reed to Olajuwon. Parrish is playing his most aggressive ball of the series. Dennis Johnson. Parrish running the floor. Lloyd picks him up.
I tell you, Parrish is the perfect guy to guard Olajuwon. He's got muscle, and he's got those long arms and a little size on Olajuwon.
Winding down to 4 minutes remaining in the period. McHale. And a foul. No basket. Foul before the shot. And it's on Ralph Sampson. Bill Walton comes back in the game. Sampson's picked up a fall like a starter.
Get the starting block, Stick. Shoot the gun. Here I come.
Bill Walton, 9 years ago, was part of a fine championship effort with the Portland Trail Blazers. Had injury and problems. This year he played 80 games, more than any amount in his career. Had a rejuvenation, and he was the man who sought out the Celtics and Red Auerbach. They didn't have to go after him. He wanted to play here.
And he was the key guy in developing the second unit of the Celtics that really gave him so much trouble prior to that Christmas Day massacre. He turned it into a fast break unit with his good rebounding and outlet passing.
Sampson with 4 fouls. Olajuwon with 4. Dennis Johnson called for the personal right now. 3:56 remaining in the third period. Boston Celtics running a clinic here in a game that could give them their 16th NBA title.
But Rockets, it's not over yet, believe it or not, Dick. They still can be explosive, but they have to play strong defense.
Sampson picks it up. I believe that it's not over, Tommy, because we were there when the Knicks were trailing by 25 and beat the Celtics in double overtime, so we know it can be done. Bird, McRae with him. 3.5 to go. Lloyd looking to double. Illegal defense called against the Rockets, and that will amount to a technical foul.
Jim Peterson was called for the illegal defense. Now, I don't think that sign was necessary.
Bird will shoot the technical foul.
Ralph, I think, just lost his cool completely in that 5th game.
But you know, you remember, you played on a lot of championships here when they only had 8,000 fans. In those days, basketball wasn't king. So I think they may bring their signs, but that's a testimony to the basketball crowd in this town. Bird to McHale on a pick and roll and a foul, and the Celtics are doing it just the way they have it on the playbook.
When Bird gets the ball and starts making his move and gets the defense moving, he makes something good happen 90% of the time.
Larry Bird has had a triple-double series, and he has the triple-double in this game as well. 19 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists.
You know, everybody talks about his many skills. But you know what the most impressive thing to me is about Larry Bird is his competitiveness and his drive.
And it started when he was 15 years old. He says, if I'm going to become a great player, I'm going to go out and practice and shoot, shoot, shoot. That's what he's done many times, all by his lonesome. Saw Olajuwon on the bench. Peterson in for him, and Ainge now called for the foul. Both teams are in the penalty here in the period. 3:12 remaining. Tough time for Ralph Sampson in Beantown.
Trying desperately to shed that monkey off his back of never having been a real winner. And I tell you this, before the fight and even after the fight, he's a winner in my book. He's going to be a great player down through the years, and this team with the red jerseys is going to be heard from a lot of years from this game today.
Sampson has 4 points, and I agree with you because this is the coming power in the league. However, I think Ralph Sampson may always be looked upon as a villain in many ways, like Wilt Chamberlain was in the year. That is something you just inherit, and it may be with him, even though he'll develop into a greater player.
A lot of big guys have had to deal with that type of problem. Eventually they do.
McHale gets fouled. Kevin McHale has had a great start and has kept it up since the beginning of the game.
Well, Kevin McHale in this series did not really have that decided advantage at the power forward spot that the Celtics kind of count on. They've kind of sort of hung around him scoring-wise, but in this game, he's been outstanding.
Jim Peterson, Akeem Olajuwon, and Ralph Sampson, all with 4 personal fouls. Lead is 22 for the Celtics. Their biggest lead was 23 in a timeout. Bill Fitch has to say something to his team to get them going. They're still in the 3rd period.
Unbeaten Henry Tillman makes his first title defense against hard-punching Bert Cooper. Plus a visit with Refrigerator Perry next weekend on CBS Sports Sunday.
Back here at Boston Garden, Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn. And, of course, Tommy, remember what Bill Fitch said. He'd like to get it down to 10 starting the 4th period, then he'll go to work. Instead, the Celtics have upped their lead.
Well, the Celtics well know that the 4th quarter in this building in a key ball game, and particularly against a team that has a fast break potential, they wanted to get well out in front so that their legs, they could keep their legs underneath them in the 4th quarter.
28% shooting by the Rockets, the Celtics at 50%, but Ralph Sampson has yet to give any indication he's going to be a different player the rest of the game, and they're going to need him, Ralph, to do something, to do anything if they're going to make any comeback.
Well, if they don't get Olajuwon back in here soon, regardless of the fouls, you got to go out with your best.
27 for Kevin McHale. Bird has 20. And there's Sampson. 6 points for Ralph Sampson.
He has not taken over the offense, Ralph Sampson, like he did when Olajuwon was on the bench in other games.
Ames looking inside, and Peterson picks it off. Peterson beating Lewis Lloyd. Misses the jumper. Dennis Johnson the rebound. The Rockets are not making their shots, which makes their effort tougher.
And I'll tell you, if they're taking a good one, 2 of the Celtics never got back on defense. McHale and Bird, they look like they're getting a little tired.
So this is the chance for the Rockets, if they can, to start to pressure them. 2 minutes to go. Bird missing. And Robert Reed outlets to Lloyd. And Lloyd can't save it. Another opportunity on a running situation goes by the board.
Well, that is the area that I think needs to be buttoned down for the Rockets in the future. Rebounds and quick outlet passes.
Here's Jerry Seasting as Danny Ainge goes to the bench and gets a hand. Ainge has scored 12 points, 7 of them here in the 3rd period.
And some feisty defense, too, on those double teams.
1:45 remaining in the 3rd. Walt charging inside. Sampson with Bird. Walton setting a pick. Double team on Bird. Walton goes up, and it's knocked away by the Rockets. Bird saw Walton after he was doubled.
But Walton had a hold up between the doubles, so Bird would have an alley to make the pass.
Seasting low. Good position to Walton. Goaltending called against Ralph Sampson. Give the basket to Walton.
Well, that was an out-and-out dumb play. You should have gone for the shot just as it released from Walton's hand instead of waiting for it to come down.
23-point lead. It's been the biggest the Celtics have had. 2 occasions. Sampson double team. McRae inside. And will be fouled. 1:15 to go. And for Bill Walton, that'll be his 3rd foul. You know, it's amazing. You look at Walton. what an enjoyable year. He says this has been his best experience. He said winning here at home at Boston Garden would be his greatest. But we went to the Clippers and it looked like that we had seen the last of Bill Walton playing for a championship.
I tell you, he has provided more than just a 7-foot frame to this ball club. He's provided fun. He's fit in right from the beginning with this team. His personality blended with guys. He went over to Parrish's house to make sure that Parrish understood he wasn't trying to steal his job. So he's come to play and fit in and do his job, play 20 minutes a game.
And he can play chess in Harvard Square.
Yes. Can you?
I don't know about Harvard Square, but we can play chess. Winding down to a minute to go. In the third period, 80 to 59. For the Celtics that had the edge once more in the third period. 21-point lead. Bird. Dennis Johnson over Sampson. And here's Reed. Reed still pushing it up for the Rockets. They're a chance. Lewis Lloyd goes up. Peterson. Block. Peterson was looking for the foul. Darryl Garretson said it was a block.
I tell you that Peterson was the third man up. He's still hustling.
Rockets have young legs. They may go down today, but they'll go down with the young legs. Under a minute, half a minute to go. Bird, foul.
I gotta tell you, that's really drawing a crowd.
Larry Bird was the MVP of the playoffs in '84. He has a triple-double today.
And we just saw Bill Fitch on the bench. You know, you got to commend him. He brought this team along so rapidly. Absolutely did a fantastic job. There's some things that they have to button down on both sides of the offense, using the big men a little bit better and the fast break a little bit better. But boy, are they in the right direction.
He's talking to Akeem, words that may be more of use next year than right now. Meanwhile, Lewis Lloyd with 4 fouls. So Peterson, Lloyd, Sampson, and Olajuwon have 4. Kevin McHale being worked on by Ray Melchiori, the Celtics trainer. Bird and McHale have 49 points between them. Alley-oop to Ralph Sampson. Sampson with 8 points, 6 of them here in this third period.
McHale has a muscle spasm in his back, Dick.
They can afford to let him work it out. Final seconds of the third period. Dennis Johnson goes up, and that'll do it. The Celtics had a 17-point lead at the half, and they've upped it more. That's the end of the third period. With the score, Celtics 82, Rockets 61. We'll return to Boston Garden after this word from your local station.
Generators made to last. And by Schick. When the beard is back, you gotta get Schick.
Coming up next, the final round of the Westchester Golf Classic, and Bob Tway has forged in front by 1 stroke over Willie Wood. It's a close battle, and you'll see final round action coming up next on CBS Sports. The Boston Celtics are 12 minutes away from their 16th NBA championship. Game 6 between the Rockets and the Celtics from Boston Garden. And the Boston Celtics lead 82 to 61. Larry Bird has 22 points, 11 rebounds and 10 assists. Kevin McHale has led them with 27. And for the Houston Rockets, Akeem Olajuwon with 15. And Ralph Sampson only 8. And the Fire not with the Rockets in this one to this point. Olajuwon guarding Parrish. Steve Harris has come in the ball game, the rookie from Tulsa, guarding Seaston now. McRae on Bird. Hook shot, goaltending by Sampson, and I don't know whether he had to do that. That ball may not have gone in.
Well, you never know now, because he swatted it away about 2 inches in front of the hoop.
Walton gets credit for the basket. He has 8. Steve Harris.
Saying Olajuwon and Walton are going at it.
And Walton complaining to Darryl Garretson. Meanwhile, Steve Harris is fouled and will go to the line. When you talk about the Rockets and their future, this man figures very prominently. He was the 19th pick in the draft out of Tulsa. He's a string bean rookie, very quiet. They say he can handle the ball well and is a good outside shot.
Well, I'll tell you this. They feel he has the work habits of Larry Bird. Bill Fitch ought to know that. Spends much time after practice, and they think he's going to be a dandy. You know, Walton trying to bump Olajuwon as he comes down the court. You know, the tactic to make a guy stop doing that is stick your elbow in his throat. And Walton took exception to it. So watch that little foray going on here early in the fourth quarter.
Harris missed them both. Gray staying with Bird. Wiggins is guarding Seasting now. Harris is on Dennis Johnson. There's Sampson and Walton. 2 seconds on the shot clock. Bird wants a three out of it, and he gets it. He had very little time on the clock. He didn't care. He ran for the line and shot it up and got the three. Walton with the rebound. And sometimes, many times, those three-point shots break the back of the opposition.
Particularly like that, Dick, the clock was running out. They played pretty decent defense.
I think Bird said, how about this? In your face or whatever. Walton pulling up, banks it in. They know they're just about there. We're back at Boston Garden, and the crowd has been on its feet, all in green, and the green might as well start putting that banner to hoist it up. Right now, let's go out to Pat O'Brien.
Dick, while they're thinking celebration now in Boston, I want to take you back 2 years ago when they won the 7th game, and you can see how the crowd reacted. They went out on the floor. The Lakers could barely get off the floor. The Celtics could barely get off the floor. This year, they have plans to try to prevent that. They have 300 security guards. You see some of them getting their final instructions here. They will make the floor a sanctuary. They will line them, and we'll show the shot, I'm sure, around the floor so that the floor is a sanctuary and the players can get off and the fans stay where they are supposed to be. That is their plan, anyway. Dick, let's go back.
All right, Pat. Rodney McRae guarded by Bird. I don't think Bird is through yet, Tommy, the way he's looking at McRae. And Steve Harris gets the basket. Big edge for the Celtics up front. Big edge. Under 10 minutes remaining. Seasting for Bird's foot. Walton to Parrish. And Olajuwon foul and a push. Olajuwon push Parrish. This is where someone's going to have to control the Rockets, because Olajuwon was ejected from 2 games in the playoffs, one in the fight with the Lakers, the other for grabbing Jack Madden's jersey. Sampson was thrown out for fighting. Seasting goes out of the game to the applause, but this is where the officials are going to have to make sure the Rockets don't fight back in frustration.
Well, they have to come out and still be aggressive, but it's a near impossible situation for them now. And they can't lose their cool if they go down in defeat. They may be very, very mad, but if they're going to be a real championship team, they've got to control their emotions and, in essence, be a good loser.
3 fouls on Wiggins, but the Celtics control. Bird for 3. Walton fighting Sampson, who gets the rebound. Celtics biggest lead, 28. And Rodney McRae. Here's a guy that the Celtics will be mighty impressed with after this series, and they have been, of course, throughout.
Now, that front line that they have, the Rockets, is going to be a dominating force for a lot of years.
Bird goes inside on McRae and draws the foul. He has every trick in the book. And I bet a lot of that comes when he's just working by himself out in Indiana, just he, the ball, and the rim.
There's Robert Reed. He's a very important player in their plans. Even though he's an elder statesman on this ball club, his leadership down the stretch when Lucas left. Very important. They're going to have to capitalize on that next season a lot more.
Triple-double for Larry Bird. Bird has 27. So does McHale. Needless to say, the front line scoring once again 54 points combined by those two. Harris. Johnson with the fake, and Steve Harris hits the jumper.
Boy, is he a good-looking player. We have not seen much of him, but good leap to get over that jump shot over a big guy.
Bill Fitch knows what he has in Harris. Walton runs him into a pick, fights right through it. Quick passing by the Celtics. Dennis Johnson hits.
That's the type of passing Casey Jones wanted back in his offense. It disappeared for 2 games.
Yesterday, he said it was a thing of the past. Well, now it's come back. Sampson doubled with Bird, who gets a piece of it. Wiggins for 3. Harris outlet to Ames. The play back. Celtics have not had any kind of a letdown ever since the Rockets scored 11 points to come within 1. They have kept up a tremendous level, Tommy, from that point on.
And Robert Parrish has been outstanding on defense today. I don't know how many points he's got, but he has been a man that has taken away the inside of the Rockets game.
He has 9 rebounds and 10 points. So he's done what Casey wanted of him. 7:45 remaining in the 4th period. Isolating 1-on-1. McCray didn't go for the fake. Pass back. And even when things break down for the Celtics, they score anyway.
I tell you, there was that Larry Bird head in action again.
Parrish, after Akeem crashed the board, Parrish took the blow. Ames going up, and he's fouled. I mean, Tommy, that was a play in which Bird caught a pass, bounced into Parrish, and scored anyway.
There's a love story going on. Bill Walton. I wanted to play with the Celtics. I'm going to sit down right now a little bit, but boy, do I love being a guy with a team on a mission like the Celtics had this year.
When you get to his stage in his career, you don't care about individual numbers and stats. All you want to do is try to win a championship, because that's what it is. 5 fouls on Ralph Sampson. McHale is guarding him. Olajuwon hits outside, but that's not the Rockets game.
You know, the Rockets will never forget this series, and they will say, we didn't do such and such in the first 2 games. So next year, if they get in the finals, they'll come out tigers in the first 2 games.
Harris setting a screen. Ames knocked away by Olajuwon. And Houston still fighting. Wiggins hits the jumper. Odds against them. The Celtics at home with a huge lead, but the Rockets are showing why they're going to be powers, I think.
They're still coming. They're not giving up. They're not rolling over. They're going to play it tough right down to the bell.
Bird. And Sampson gets it out to Wiggins. Harris. Reed hits the shot, but it was Dennis Johnson on Robert Reed to start the game to slow up Reed, and that was one of the things that worked for the Rockets. Reed, or for the Celtics. Reed 2 for 9, and there's a timeout. This is Causeway Street out in front of Boston Garden. Just an ordinary Sunday, but this place will be mobbed as soon as this game is over. And meanwhile, in the Celtic dressing room, they are starting to pop the corks and get ready for the celebration. They've had a lot of them, and another banner tacked up here at Boston Garden, their 16th world title. Big addition to the club this year was the redhead, and the guy next to him, Jerry Seasting, and how sweet it must be for both of them.
You know, not too many of the Celtic championships were really won at home, or quite a few of them on the road. So this celebration, getting involved with the mob scene. The players saying probably want to get off the floor as quickly as possible.
When the Celtics beat the Rockets 5 years ago, they won it in Houston in Game 6. Before they changed to the 2-3-2 format, started last year. Olajuwon hustling, knocks the ball away. Meanwhile, Ralph Sampson on the bench with 5 fouls and 8 points, and it just didn't happen for Ralph today.
Well, he learned a lesson, and he's smart enough to profit from it in the future.
Bird will inbound. Yesterday, Larry Bird said, I'm ready for the game, and when I'm ready, the other guys usually follow me, and that's why I asked you at the outset about his role today. McHale inside, and Reed lost it to Ames. 5:38 on the clock. Harris double teamed, and they'll call the foul. Here's Lewis Lloyd. Lloyd played his best game today in the series.
I think Lou Lloyd, Phil Fitch said he had a little physical problem, a rash, a cold. But the other part of it was that they never really got the running game going, which brings out the best in Lou Lloyd.
We saw Lloyd play 2 outstanding games against the Lakers, didn't we, Tommy?
He sure did.
Olajuwon has picked up his 5th personal foul. So Sampson on the bench with 5, and Akeem stays in the game with 5. Parrish makes 1. Dennis Johnson is the only Celtic not in double figures. He has 8 points. Peterson, guarded by McHale. A couple of Minnesota lads. Peterson getting the offensive rebound. And Parrish going up. The Boston Celtics coaching staff, Casey Jones, Jimmy Rogers, and Chris Ford. Ford played for Bill Fitch when they won the title over Houston in '81. And Jimmy Rogers was a longtime assistant way back to North Dakota with Bill.
I'll tell you, Casey Jones, I'd like to just say one thing about Casey Jones. Casey Jones almost lost a coaching career when there was a television intrusion in the huddle, and it showed that perhaps Bernie Bickerstaff was doing all the coaching, which he really wasn't. And it left an impression that when he left the Bullets, he couldn't get a coaching job, not even in the college ranks. I'm glad that Red Auerbach gave him a chance, and here he is going for his 2nd title.
"60 wins, 4 seasons. On his way to his 2nd title, Ainge. 15 for Danny Ainge today. 100-74. 26-point lead. The Celtics had it up to 30. And the Rockets coming right back. Robert Reed. That was a 2-point shot. Wiggins still going after Johnson like the game was tied. Dennis Johnson missing. Rebound by Olajuwon. 4:25 to go. Peterson behind his back to Steve Harris. Rockets running and looking good at this stage, even though it's just a matter of time for the Celtics.
Now, Boston came out with that dogged determination that years of playoff experience breeds.
Ainge from Bird. And no one expected the Rockets to be in the finals this year. Reed hits again. They said it's going to be LA and Boston. What else for the 3rd straight year? But then the Rockets shocked the Lakers in 5 games, winning 4 straight.
And they are going to get nothing but better.
3:45 remaining in the 4th period. Just marvel at the way these Boston Celtics play basketball. McHale against Peterson goes in.
Well, when the defense spreads out and one of the Celtic big guys can go one-on-one, they're virtually unstoppable.
Bird and McHale each have 29, and Parrish blocks Olajuwon. Out of bounds. It's Houston ball. Scott Wedman didn't get to play. Fractured 2 ribs in the 3rd game against Milwaukee in the Eastern Finals. And now he's going to get a chance to play. Isn't that great? And listen to the crowd. That's terrific. Robert Reed hits another jump shot, and Wedman is going to get a chance to play in this NBA Finals.
Well, he was a very important member of that team all season long, and Casey Jones wants to give him at least an opportunity, even with the broken ribs, to feel like he was part of the finals.
Dennis Johnson, double figures. All 5 hit doubles, plus Bill Walton. He also scored 10. Wiggins going inside. And Larry Bird, no basket. And Reed still chugging. Olajuwon. And here comes the bench. Carlisle, Wedman, and listen to the hand for the starters as they go. You know, Tommy, on another Super Sunday, the Boston fans were disappointed when the Chicago Bears beat the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. But on this Super Sunday, they have a lot to cheer about. Another great Boston Celtic effort.
You know, there is tremendous camaraderie between these players. They have a lot of barbs going in the locker room, and they pick at each other. They've got very sarcastic humor. They've dubbed Danny Ainge's locker the 19th hole because he's such a golf nut, and they keep kidding him every time he misses a shot. Bird will yell out, "You were short on that shot. Maybe you should have used a 7-iron instead of a 9-iron."
Meanwhile, Akeem Olajuwon with a huge disappointment etched on his face. You know, Tommy, you had a great point yesterday about the Celtic policy of not shaking up and keeping the basic nucleus. Elo scored.
I think that's one of the reasons for their success. That they allow the chemistry to develop, and they keep it for as long as possible. And they don't trade players for the sake of saving a few dollars. They'd rather have the chemistry than anything else.
Greg Kite goes up in his foul. Greg Kite is a guy off the bench who had played a key role early in the season in defending Akeem Olajuwon. Danny Ainge goes out of the game to these cheers. Ainge scored 19 points. His best scoring effort today.
When he first came to the Celtics, he was primarily a defensive player. That's how Fitch used him off the bench. And he worked his way into a offensive player. He was the whipping boy by the press. They thought he should be scoring more points.
Level with Harris and Elo and McDowell and Waiters. And there's Hank McDowell scoring. You know, because Ainge came on the way he did, the Celtics were able to trade Henderson to Seattle and have the #2 pick in the draft coming up.
And this draft is a very important draft for the Celtics to try and continue, perhaps with a big guy, as some of the Parishes and the Waltons leave the scene.
So Carlisle and Kite and Wedman and Third Kill and Vincent are in there. Alan Level hits the three-point shot. He's hit 4 of them in this series. 110-91. And Rick Carlisle, who was a teammate of Ralph Sampson's at Virginia, scored.
You know, the other thing I got to say, Dick, is the owners of a team are very important. When they let the management work the way they work, you know, if they know basketball, let them do their thing. And I think the Celtics owners have done that, and so have the Rockets.
You know, the Celtics have had one basic management guy in Auerbach, but they've had a lot of different owners over the years.
Absolutely, and most all of them have listened to Red Auerbach and what he's decided to do, and I think Charlie Thomas down there in Houston has given Ray Patterson carte blanche, and Patterson in turn has given Bill Fitch carte blanche.
In 3 years, the Rockets went from 14 wins to 51. That's about a meteoric rise as you could ask for. Carlisle hits again. 2 for 2 for Carlisle. Got a good outside shot. So an opportunity for everyone to play. Level. Misses. Harris. And Kite fouls McDowell with 39 seconds to go. And there is a guy who leads the way. That semi-smile by Bird was the first one we've seen since he walked into the building.
He's had a game face on for so long now that that's good to see him smile.
You talked about Bill Fitch earlier and how quickly he's brought this team along. And even this year, Tommy, they had injury problems to Akeem and Sampson. They lost their point guard, Lucas. And they're going to send their starters in wisely to the dressing room. This is a good move to get them in there.
I think it really is, Dick, to keep them out of trouble.
Timeout. And we'll be back. This is a rarity in sports. I don't think it's ever happened that a celebration has started before the end of a game. Not only did the Rockets go to the dressing room, but the Celtics starters did too. There's Red Auerbach also. Poor Casey Jones will have to wait till the game is over, but I think that's the first time that starters have celebrated while the game was still on, and of course a great move to avoid the crush of the crowd.
Yeah, and I want to tell you, because there have been players hurt here, and maybe even seriously. I remember I got dropped on my head. Maybe that's why I
thought you said something
now.
else. I thought you said something else that starts with DR, but I won't. Half a minute to go. Elo gets it away from Thurkill, and this crowd just wants the time to go by so they can let it out. There's the time. Craig Elo going in for the basket. The Boston Celtics will have won their 41st straight home game. Who knew when they lost to Portland in December that that would be the only game they would lose all year and win 50 and lose only one on the parquet floor. Boy, do they ever earn this. They never looked back this year, Tommy.
They were very, very enjoyable to watch this season. Their passing game really harkened back to the 50s when everybody got involved and they truly became a team.
They lost on Christmas Day after having a 25-point lead. They had lost 5 out of 9, and then they grouped together, won 17 out of 18, and the Celtics used Christmas Day's disaster to go on and win their 16th NBA championship. We'll be back to Boston Garden with that in just a moment. Of Causeway Street a little while ago, and now the fans have filtered onto the street on a beautiful Sunday afternoon, waving the flag. They're the Champions fans inside. They're dancing on the parquet floor. They're a well-behaved crowd. They're just happy. The Boston Celtics have done it again, with Larry Bird and Kevin McHale each scoring 29 points. Celtics never trailed, and this crowd loved it all the way. So the Celtics are the NBA champions. Will return to Boston Garden after this.
16, and here to present the trophy is the commissioner, David Stern. David,
congratulations to the Celtics in the city of Boston. 16 out of 40, the greatest winning tradition. You did it with hard work and teamwork. You've earned it. It's yours. Enjoy it.
What a great year.
Let me ask you this. Please place this team in historical perspective. How good is this Celtic team in comparison with the other champions?
I think it's one of the greatest, if not the greatest team that I've ever been associated with, especially over a long season. They just produced every time they had to. They're a great bunch of guys. The chemistry was great. I'm very happy for them.
Where's the coach?
Casey Jones, this has got to be a great moment for you. 2 NBA championships. You get a chance after it appeared as though no one would hire you again. Tell me what this title means to you.
Well, it means that I've been in 2 championships as a coach, and
I want to say hi to Mom, Eula Jones out there, and I'm very happy to be with this group of guys, and anything else doesn't matter. We did the job, and I'm proud of it.
You're still doing the job, baby.
This is the price you pay.
Hey,
Dennis,
Jimmy!
You had a great series defensively. Tell me how it unfolded with the team defensively now.
Well, defensively, all we had to do, I mean, we came out busting our butts in the third quarters all this time, and we knew once we got back here, we listened to a lot of the talk, and we respond very well to talk. When we got back here, no question we were winning this.
Right. When we come back, we're going to talk to the MVP of the finals. Red Auerbach has just handed in the trophy. No question about who it is, and we'll be right back.
We don't like to lay around after we get beat. We want to go right back to work, and today was too long of a wait for us, but when we got here today, we was very serious.
Are you surprised at how Ralph Sampson played so soft in this game today?
Well, the fans had a lot to do with that. I think he feels very bad at what happened in Houston, but he came out, and I think our defense shut him down very good, but you got to give the Rockets a lot of credit, as always, because they played very hard.
Is Larry Bird satisfied now at this point in his career?
As of right now, I am. I know I got a lot of work to do this summer, but we want to repeat next year, of course, but we know it's going to be tough. If we keep on working hard, maybe we can do it again.
Larry, when will you pick up a basketball again and shoot it?
At least 2 or 3 weeks now. After this, boy, it's going to be 2 or 3 weeks.
Right. Nice job.
Thank you very much.
We're going to come back and talk to Bill Walton, the man who experienced the championship in 1977, and now he's done it again. The championship scene in the Boston Garden where the Celtics have done it again. And Bill Walton, it's been a long time since trips to Champaign. What does this mean to you?
Oh, it means 63. It means everything to me. Gosh, the amount of work, the amount of pain, you know, just the effort to win in all season long. For 9 long years to get back to this moment, it's just unbelievable. And I've never been happier, man. I just feel so great. And I just love it. And it's been a long way. Houston's too close to New Orleans, but we came out today and we busted in. We love it.
All right, Danny Ainge.
Oh, hey, it's just great. I just hang on the coattails of these 2 big freaks right here.
Kevin McHale, you played a very good game today. And
Very
Ralph
good. That was a
Sampson
great
gave you
game.
no
Were you
trouble at
watching?
all.
I was really determined to try to shut out Ralph. I thought he'd come out and play really hard because of the fans and what happened with the fight with Jerry. So I thought about it all last night, just playing him hard, not giving him anything. And, you know, I tell you what, it's been sweet. The big fella here solidified our team. We had 2 true centers, and away we went.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Hey, now.
Now let's go upstairs. Dick Stockton and Tommy Heinsohn. Dick.
Thank you very much, Brent. And Tommy, your fans are all around you here, but I want you to talk about the Houston Rockets and the impact they have made this year.
I think they found that they belong in the upper echelon. They have in talent right there an awful lot of things going for them. They're only operating at about 50% of what their potential is. When they nail down some easy, simple things next season, watch out for the Rockets.
I remember a scene a year ago when Jan Volk and Alan Cohen, one of the owners, were sitting in an office. This was 30 minutes after the game was over and the Lakers had won. They were going over the box score like it was a tout sheet. How can we improve? They got Walton, they got Seasting. Those were the missing elements that gave the Celtics their 16th world title. It is no accident that the Boston Celtics win so many championships. They have solid management where other clubs may not. They ought to look to the Celtics. There may be some luck, but a lot of it was skill. And as far as this year's title was concerned, it all started 30 minutes after last year's title. We want to wrap things up right now here in Boston. And for Tom Heinsohn.
It was nice of them to win it in the Garden, the 50th victory here this year, and they've only lost once. The bedlam that followed the annihilation of the Rockets was oh so sweet.
These are the type of days that you're going to be an old man, an old fart, and you're going to be sitting around, you know, your porch, and you're going to be rocking on your rocking chair, and you're going to tell you like your great-grandchildren.
I think I'll be here for a long, long while right here. I may stay up till I get ready to go on the cruise, and that's like on the 21st.
This is more than a dream come true. This is everything I ever hoped basketball would be, and I said that before, and I mean it more than ever now.
Outside, several fans seized higher ground to lead a willing mob of celebrants. Last year, Game 6, it spelled disaster. The Lakers became the first visiting team ever to win a championship at Boston Garden. But now Causeway Street is back to normal. Normal is green. Normal is noisy. And normal is the Celtics atop the basketball world.
The greatest team in basketball. It was an amazing game.
This news reporter. Number 1, the Celtics escaped to a private party as the festivities continued on into the night. A banner was hoisted to the rafters of City Hall. A Celtics t-shirt was hoisted to the heavens. And at Faneuil Hall, the music played well into the evening. It's the 16th party of this sort in 40 years of
handicapped babies.
Get better each time. Joining me now is a man who was
Chase.
It was interesting. Mayor Ray Flynn. Mayor, Sweet 16, it's a pretty special one.
Yeah, it really is. It's an exciting team. I think it's one of the good.
From handicapped newborns. Some flat.
And, you know, Boston, people of Boston, the young people of the city are very, very proud of the Celtics. And I think that's why you're going to see a really large show tomorrow at City Hall Plaza for the fans to pay tribute to the Boston Celtics.
What have you got planned here tomorrow? I understand there are some gifts, things of that nature that are going to be given.
Break the union. Boston will be giving personal, itemized little tokens of the city's appreciation to the Celtics for the pride that they're bringing to Boston. We'll be making those presentations. I just talked to Red Auerbach and Casey Jones. I have to tell you, Ron, they're very excited about this one. This one is something special. Perhaps it was losing last year, and the fans stayed.
1,000 CS drivers
to the people of Boston.
Warehouse workers went
to it.
At least it won't be 9 degrees like it was when the Patriots were here not too long ago.
No, I know it. Yeah, no. And
this morning, awaiting arraignment in what authorities are calling New England.
Realizes teamwork, hard work, pride. I think
the joint
involvement and attachment to the Celtics of 1986.
Okay, thanks very much for joining us, Mr. Mayor. Again, they're expecting people to begin arriving here around 7:30 in the morning, so get here early for a good seat. Reporting live from City Hall Plaza, Ron Allen, News Center 5. Jim, back to you.
Heard by now, another championship banner will soon be hanging in Boston Garden. For the Celtics, it's number Sweet 16, earning once again the title of world champs, yesterday defeating the Rockets. Before the final buzzer sounded, the celebrating had already started. Once again, it became official, the Garden outside, the party went outside. The Celtic faithful tied up traffic, paraded in the streets, and savored this wonderful victory.
Oh, I tell you what, it's so sweet now, and all summer long when I'm fishing, the beer's a little bit colder and the fish get a little bit bigger. Those stories get a little bit better.
If you haven't played on a championship team and you're a Celtic, you kind of feel left out. But now I feel like I'm, you know, part of the Celtic tradition. You know, I'm a Celtic now. I got a championship ring, and, you know, I just feel super.
We just came out with one purpose. You know, that was to win the game, and we're not going to let anything, you know, we're not going to let anything take it away from us.
Well, as we said, the victory inside.